Hey everyone, from Western Carolina. I'm just sitting here watching my dogs play, wondering how much more our economy can take.
Across North Carolina, tension is rising as Trump voters confront a deepening economic crisis, lost jobs, rising costs, and fading promises. The uproar is growing louder, and people are demanding answers. In this video, you'll hear real stories from North Carolinians living through the fallout. Listen closely. The truth is unfolding now.
First, I'd like to remind the senators that you are elected to serve the citizens of North Carolina, not Donald J. Trump. And what we really need you to do is pass a budget. Last year, 51% of all the votes went to Democrats. 48% went to Republicans, yet the senators have a supermajority, Republicans have a supermajority in the Senate, and 1 seat shy of a supermajority in the House. You also have 10 out of 14 elected officials in Congress. How did this happen? Surgical gerrymandering. Now you're saying this is all because of California action. As we heard earlier, California hasn't redistricted a thing. What they've done is they've responded to Texas, which started this fiasco for our country, and they put an initiative on the ballot to ask Californians if they should be redistricted. You should do the same. But I doubt that you will, because you know that North Carolinians would never approve this scheme. So you're liars and cheats. That's what this boils down to, liars and cheats. You can prove me wrong. You can turn this aside and deny this bill passage.
You think you can make it another year?
I don't know. Do you just keep going, rolling the dice, hoping things will turn? I mean, it's not looking good.
President Trump has promised a new bailout for American farmers, as much as $13 billion that he said would be paid for by the tariffs.
We're going to take some of that tariff money that we made, we're going to give it to our farmers, who are, for a little while, going to be hurt until it kicks in. The tariffs kick into their benefit.
Like most farmers we spoke to, Daniels and Carmack say they'd rather work their fields than rely on taxpayer money.
It will help pay some bills, but that's not fixing the problem. It's a Band-Aid when we need stitches.
Can you wait? Can you wait this out?
Farm families can't wait.
I hear it's affecting your health.
Yes. 4 blood pressure pills a day. 3 different medicines. 2 years ago, none.
What do you think about when you go to bed at night?
What's going to be left in a year, 2 years? Am I the one that broke what started in the late 1800s?
So my wife was having a conversation with a family member who happens to be married to a farmer, and the family member was talking about how they recently had lost a number of workers due to deportations and how that was going to affect them, that work on the farm wasn't going to get done, that they might not produce as much milk or as much grains as they normally would because they wouldn't have the workers to get this done. And once again, it shows that, one, Trump supporters, as these individuals are, don't care about the people. They care about only things when they affect themselves. They only care when it's going to affect the money that they make, or in this case, that they're actually going to have to go out and do what farmers should be doing, which is working in their fields, working in their barns. They didn't care that the people are deported. They care that they might lose some money and that they're going to have to actually work for a little bit of time. They don't care about the people. And it's another one of those "we told you so" moments.
I own a farm in North Carolina, and I can tell you for a fact that these raids will not make our state more safe, but they will make it more expensive, and it will be a stain on all of us. In May, when we start harvesting strawberries after the toll of deportation raids and the psychological trauma inflicted on the Latino communities continued to fester, farms like us aren't going to have our usual labor. We've already been told there's going to be a shortage. I spoke with one farmer who's posted locally for jobs harvesting produce for 10 years, and he's never had a local person apply. He doesn't even know what he's going to do next year. The people being rounded up are hardworking individuals, not criminals, and the blunt force tactics are only meant to make people afraid. They're not targeted. They're biased against people who don't look like me. Many of the people affected are working on our farms, building our houses, constructing our roads. They're the hardest working people I know. They're humble and kind with actual family values. I believe a day of reckoning will come, but unfortunately not just for the people perpetuating this awful tragedy, but for us as a country for letting it happen. Have the day you voted for.
Yeah, so it's absolutely true that Hendrick Motorsport in Charlotte, North Carolina just received $2.25 million of taxpayer money to fund a fleet of vehicles for ICE.
Jim is a Republican who voted for Donald Trump 3 times.
How do you feel about your vote for Donald Trump now?
Well, I feel like perhaps I should have considered some other options.
Among other things, Jim imports packaging supplies for his honey, so he's paying real close attention to the tariffs Trump just put in place.
We just bought our year's supply of bottles from Taiwan and our year's supply of corks from Portugal about 3 weeks ago. So that would have been, another $5,000 or $6,000 out of my pocket.
Which is partly why he's repairing instead of replacing this 40-year-old forklift.
The cost of equipment has just gone through the roof to buy anything like that because it just would be cost prohibitive.
He's also holding off on improvements around the farm.
Well, we're not going to hire any more people, that's for sure.
It's more than just the tariffs. For the past 2 years, Jim has been selling honey to the federal government, which then provides it to schools and food banks. But after Donald Trump took office, the USDA cut those programs suddenly as part of the federal government's effort to streamline spending.
For a lot of other local farmers around here, it was a major source of reliable revenue. For me, it's going to cost me around $150,000 a year.
$150,000?
Yeah, roughly 50% of my revenue.
That's a huge hit.
That's a massive hit.
I want to do a video on, kind of the farming and kind of the crisis going on in row crop farming right now. Things are very hard in row crop farming for a lot of people. All agriculture is struggling, really, except for livestock. Cows are pretty good right now, which those guys needed a good money-making time because they've been selling cows too cheap for 10 years. But on the row crop side of things, you see a lot of things about, corn's the same price it was in the 70s and all that. And I just want to say, because I've got mixed feelings on it, not every farmer is in bad shape. There's a lot of people that's been farming the past 20, 25 years, very conservatively, not showing out, not buying, new trucks every year and X9s and all that. And they're kind of sitting in the driver's seat, especially if they're not leveraged very much, because they can buy some really nice equipment really cheap. And, there's some people that have not managed very well and kept growing and kept growing and kept growing, and they're leveraged to the hilt, which is not good when we hit a recession like we have right now. And the human side of me says I hate that for them, because I don't want to see anybody lose their farm or their business. The business side of me says, well, they're kind of getting what they deserved in a way, because, you can't just keep going and kicking the can down the road and keep borrowing money and keep borrowing money and keep piling on debt and expect to farm your way out of it.
A sitting president has asked states to rig their voting districts in order to avoid accountability in the midterms, and here we are answering the call. You know whose calls we are refusing to answer? Yours. I thought our duty was to the Constitution and to the people of North Carolina, and they are overwhelmingly opposed to this bill. We asked the public to submit comment on this proposed map. They answered the call. As of 10:30 this morning, we had received 12,280 comments. I have them printed right here. No point in these proceedings has their input been meaningfully considered. And I believe this calls into question the integrity of the House and these proceedings.
So thank you, Representative Helfrich, for pointing out that since yesterday and today we had another 1,000 comments, totaling 12,215. And out of those 12,215, and deep gratitude to my legislative assistant for going through most of them, she's found 3 in favor of these maps. 3.
Why do you support Trump's destructive and disastrous trade war? So would you give me a chance to answer this question, and then you can start yelling after I get to it. President Trump told us throughout his entire campaign that he was going to be using tariffs to negotiate to negotiate with foreign countries, and that's exactly what he's doing. And to negotiate, you've got to have an edge. You've got to have something to negotiate with. And he's been able to bring foreign leaders to the table that would not come to the table otherwise.
Why are you doing nothing while Trump destroys the U.S. Constitution?
I sense maybe a faction in this room of folks that might not have voted for President Trump, and I'll say that I happen to believe very much that President Trump supports our Constitution. And I sleep good at night knowing that every vote that I cast is in support of our Constitution and your freedoms and limited government.
From small towns to growing cities, families across North Carolina are feeling the pressure. Many who once felt hopeful now face uncertainty as their financial struggles deepen. Their voices reveal how rapidly changing conditions are reshaping lives and expectations across the state.
The Trump administration is on pace to be the most anti-veteran administration in the history of America. That's right. More than 6,000 veterans have already lost their jobs without just cause. The veteran community is getting massively hurt by these cuts because there have already been 2,500 federal workers fired from the VA, which is the primary source for veterans' health care in America. And was recently reported that in the coming months, the Trump administration plans to fire over 83,000 more employees from the VA. This would mean that almost 20% of the VA workforce would be out of a job, and tens of thousands more veterans would be unemployed. This is shameful, and we should all be disgusted. The hardworking people at the VA are patriots, and they deserve our gratitude, our respect, and our support. How dare Elon Musk and his Doge cronies categorize the critical care that so many veterans need as wasteful spending?
The administration canceled the entire refugee resettlement program entirely. There will be no more refugees coming to this country after 45 years of this. This is wrong.
We are not going to stand for this. Many of us are people in this room that take seriously the words from Leviticus 19:34. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as one of your native born. Amen.
There's a very dangerous piece of legislation that's been introduced in Congress. It is called the SAVE Act. It makes it harder to register to vote. This is absolutely voter suppression legislation. Don't just contact them once, contact them over and over again, and don't get frustrated if what you're getting is voicemail. I quite frankly get concerned when I get a person because that tells me we're flooding those telephone lines and flooding them with
it is all intentional. The best way to destroy something is by appointing someone to lead it that doesn't even understand how it functions. So when they started appointing these folks that knew nothing about healthcare, about education, about transportation, about defense, when they started having these folks that know nothing to manage these huge departments of multi-billion-dollar budgets, that showed us exactly where they were going, and unfortunately, that is the point.
Medicaid also covers my medical appointments,
equipment for my wheelchair, other assistive technologies I use daily, and a treatment I'm on that's specific to my disability. But to maintain my benefits, I have to stay on a fixed income. And this is what I love telling people is I do an annual evaluation to make sure I'm still disabled. Which sounds absurd, but I say this to illustrate how difficult it is to acquire and maintain these services. The idea that there are millions of people abusing and living off the system is blatant propaganda designed to advance a political agenda, and I need everyone to understand that and make that loud and clear. The proposed budget cuts do nothing to regulate excessive federal spending, and they would do massive harm to my community. Without proper support at the federal level, states will not have the ability to continue Medicaid funding for the millions of elderly, disabled, and low-income people who depend on the program. And I think with many of the leaders in our nation right now, whether they identify as disabled or not, many of them clearly know what it's like to go through life without having a spine. If Senator does claim to care about people like us, then, speak up in defense of this and other life-saving programs and services that you and your loved ones depend on. Having been immersed in disability and rare disease communities for years, I know people on Medicaid who are entrepreneurs, teachers, engineers, artists, public speakers, community leaders, and researchers at top universities. We want to contribute to society and lead fulfilling lives, and all we're asking is for our elected officials to grant us basic dignity and to protect the services we need to continue living. While programs like Medicaid are viewed in terms of dollar signs in the minds of politicians, for us, they are instrumental to our survival.
Make racist rest! Racist maps! 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 Make racist rest!
You know what's not talked about enough? The fact that North Carolina ranks 43rd in teacher pay, ranks 48th in per pupil spending, ranks 49th in public school funding effort, and our teachers pay the second most out of pocket of teachers in any state in America.
Can you tell me why in North Carolina, okay, why are we still at $7.25 for minimum wage? Since 2009? Can somebody explain that? Can somebody literally make it make sense for me? Because in all of these years, shit's just gotten more expensive. So why is minimum wage here still $7.25? How could I afford a home? How could I afford rent? How can I afford my food, my bills, telephone, all this shit that we have to pay for? I don't know who the hell is in charge, and maybe I need to look into that and research some of that, but who is in charge of increasing the minimum wage, and why has it been since 2009? We need to put a 1 in front of that 725. 1725, okay? That's what we need. But I would settle for 15 because that seems a more, okay, I get it. $7.25, okay? That's fucking tooth fairy money at this point.
Okay, super quick. I own 2 properties in the state of North Carolina. One is Cabarrus. It's a rental property. I have a landlord policy on it. The insurance is going up. My primary is in the city of Charlotte, and it's going up almost $400.
I'm Vicki Boyer. I am from Orange County representing myself. I want you to know I'm a North Carolina native, and I can trace my ancestors here back to the 1730s. I'm going to tell you that this is one of those days that will live in infamy in North Carolina history. Today, North Carolina Republicans show their true face. They have lost all sense of honor. They have lost their Christian values. They've become completely absorbed into the American Fascist Party. Their oath of office, sworn to with their hand on a Bible, means nothing to them. It was only a means to an end. Their actions today prove that their plans for North Carolina are so unpopular that they have to cheat to win. They don't want to govern, they want to rule. I hope they will remember that old adage that cheaters never prosper. The best sign I saw Saturday at a No Kings rally was this: Yo Papa didn't run moonshine through North Carolina hollers just so you could be a bootlicker.
Because they believe your vote should be worthless. They believe that your vote shouldn't matter. They can't believe we're even still doing this thing we call democracy. But let me tell you what's not going to happen once they do these maps. We're still not going to have a budget. It's amazing. They get together and agree on stuff that's affecting them and their power, but when it comes down to helping you, suddenly we can't come to an agreement. Let me tell you what else is not going to happen. Your food prices are not going down. Your ability to get a job is not going up. Your ability to buy a house is not going up. But that's because they don't care. So what I'm asking you to do is be tired of being tired. Get sick of being sick. Do something for yourselves and get these guys out of here. Because if the only thing you can agree on is that you got to screw North Carolinians every time you get a chance, then North Carolinians don't need you.
We had an actual full Democratic sweep in Greensboro, North Carolina. 6 of our 7 Guilford for All endorsed candidates actually won their races. Most notable of those being Irving Allen, who only raised $5,000, and claiming the last at-large spot versus Richard Beard, who had $130,000 plus from all the corporate entities you could probably think of. That's amazing. What this election shows is that people around the country are fed up. Democrats are inspired to go ahead and go change the status quo and stop electing the same old, same old. It's a complete rebuke of the republicanism that we've been having to endure with for so long. Now we have one of the youngest and most progressive city councils in all of America. And I'm just so excited to see where this goes. Now we're on to the midterms, where it'll be me in District 5, my brother Taven for Congress in District 6, and then Lawrence for Congress in District 11. We're gonna change this nation, one way or another.
Hey everyone, from Western Carolina. I'm just sitting here, watching my dogs play, wondering how much more our economy can take, because it's just, the prices of everything just keep going up. And I don't know how, well, you can't work much more. I mean, most people have side hustles and second jobs, and it's still not enough to survive. When is enough enough? In Western Carolina, we're just all the way around still messed up. Pray for us.
The stories from North Carolina paint a broader picture of the challenges many Americans are facing today. Behind every statistic is a family trying to adapt, a worker searching for stability, and a community feeling the weight of economic change. These voices remind us that real lives are shaped by the promises made and the realities that follow. Listening to their experiences helps us understand the complexity of this moment and the impact it has across the state. If you found these stories meaningful, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And click the video on your screen to explore more first-hand accounts from across the country.